discover the incredible news, we sold our home. Tomorrow, we're moving in with you, Granny. Sarah's heart raced as she clutched the phone, the words echoing like thunder in her ears. She could barely breathe. Just a few short months ago, she lost her job at the bakery, the very cornerstone of her family's stability, and now they were uprooting everything once more. We sold the house, kids, she called out, forcing a smile as Jamie and Olivia appeared from the living room. Their faces fell like autumn leaves. Tomorrow, we're moving in with you, Granny June. The words slipped through her lips with a mixture of excitement and dread. She'd always thought of her childhood home as a relic of joy, filled with laughter and the smell of freshly baked pies. But that was years ago. Now, it felt more like a haunted memory, a painful vestige of a strained relationship with her mother. Seriously? Granny? Jamie's eyebrows twisted in protest, while Olivia crossed her arms, scowling. They were terrified, and so was Sarah. The thought of forcing her children into the uncertain embrace of their estranged grandmother sent a tidal wave of anxiety crashing over her. Preparing for the move was like piecing together a broken puzzle. Jamie and Olivia balked at the idea of living in an assisted living facility, wrapped up in their fears, memories of their mother's tension with Granny flooding back like a dam breaking. What if she doesn't like us? What if we don't like her? Olivia whimpered, squeezing her brother's hand. Look, I know things are complicated between us and Granny. But this isn't just for her. It's for us too, Sarah reassured, though the words felt hollow. She wanted connection for her children, a way to mend the rift that had festered countless years, but how could she put them directly in the line of fire? On their first evening at Granny June's, Sarah had envisioned a warm family dinner, a moment of peace where hearts could open and connections could spark. Instead, tension filled the room like a thick fog. The table was set, but Jamie and Olivia sat stiffly as Granny recounted stories of Sarah's childhood, bringing up the past while ignoring the palpable distance between them. Your mom was always a dreamer, Granny crooned, but instead of nostalgia, it struck like a knife. Yeah, she dreamt of being free from you, Jamie whispered before shoving food around his plate. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. Silence fell again, heavier this time. Sarah's heart ached as she watched the shadows of grief and resentment play across her children's faces. Just when it seemed the night would end in despair, a knock at the door cut through the tension. A flood of familiar faces from the neighborhood, bringing baked treats and laughter. Their warmth wrapped around Sarah like a blanket, reminding her of simpler times, of shared stories, of belonging. But with laughter came complexity. Old memories clashed with new realities, making the air electrified with both hope and uncertainty. Sarah glanced at her children, then at her mother, feeling the weight of generations stifling her breath. Could they redefine family? Could this gathering sow seeds of reconciliation, or would it merely unearth old wounds, leaving them all raw and exposed? As they laughed and shared stories, Sarah caught a glimpse of a forgotten childhood photograph slipping from the stack of memories being exchanged. She instinctively reached for it, and at that moment, everything hung in the balance. Her heart raced, the room fell silent. The haunting question lingered. Would they find the strength to forgive and heal, or was history destined to repeat itself? The photograph slipped from her fingers and fluttered to the floor like a leaf caught in a breeze. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she knelt to retrieve it. It was a picture of her, around 5 years old, sitting on her mother's lap, both of them beaming with joy. The backdrop was their old kitchen, vibrant and filled with light. The weight of nostalgia washed over her. A small voice in Sarah's heart whispered that maybe, just maybe, there was still a chance to mend what had been broken. But the moment shattered as she looked up to see Granny June's expression guarded and distant as if the photograph had reopened old wounds. "What's that?" Granny asked, her voice tinged with curiosity but equally laced with apprehension. It's nothing, Sarah stammered, quickly putting the photo back among the rest, afraid to dive into the memories that had lingered like ghosts in the corners of her mind. Not nothing, Jamie interjected, his voice a blend of defiance and uncertainty. It's a memory. From before. Before. The word hovered in the air, heavier than a storm cloud. Sarah could sense the tension thickening like fog in the room. Yeah, Mom used to be happy, Olivia said softly, the accusation sharp despite her whisper. The table fell silent once more, and eyes shifted nervously toward Granny. Granny June's expression darkened at Olivia's words. People grow up, kids. Life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. A flicker of bitterness crossed her features, but quickly vanished. Sarah felt the air heat up around her. Would tonight unravel as yet another family dividing line, or was this the moment to reclaim their narrative? Taking a deep breath, she spoke. You're right, Mom. Life isn't perfect, but we can aim for something better now, can't we? We're all here for a reason. With that, a subtle tension melted, and for the first time, laughter seemed more genuine. Neighbors shared stories of good times and tribulations, momentarily pushing aside the family chaos. Sarah watched as laughter began to fill the void, mixed with the aroma of baked treats that mingled with lingering memories. Hours passed, and the room was alive with chatter and stories, tales of blunders, brave moments, and loved ones lost. As Jamie and Olivia ventured cautiously into conversations, sharing their own quirks and dreams, Sarah felt a glimmer of hope. This was the warmth she had longed to find, the roots of connection sprouting through the cracks. But just as she began to relax, a startling realization struck Sarah. The threads of the past were too interwoven with the present. The laughter, the warmth was fleeting, and needlessly shadowed by the bitterness between her and her mother. Before she could chase the thought away, Jamie, emboldened by the friendly atmosphere, asked, Granny, do you remember the summer we all spent at the lake? Mom told us all those stories about fishing and how you taught her to swim. Granny stiffened, memories flashing in her eyes. Of course I remember, she replied carefully, the truth lingering unspoken. That summer is one of the few bright spots. Again, silence set in. Jamie, sensing the emotional shift, pushed forward, do you think we can have more days like that? Like family days? Sarah's heart sank. The question hung in the air like a heavy curtain, and she gripped the edge of the table. Would her mother be willing to share moments of joy again? Tears welled in Granny's eyes as she searched the intrigued faces of her grandchildren. Perhaps they could rebuild something from the ashes of the past. If you all truly want that, I'd like nothing more, she said, her voice trembling. In that instant, Sarah felt the fragile threads weaving together, but uncertainty loomed ahead. Was this the beginning of something beautiful, or another delusion that would crumble under pressure? As the night wore on, Sarah's heart raced, hope battling with fear. One question lingered above all, could history be rewritten, or were they trapped in circles of pain that would follow them like shadows? Before the night could settle into a comfortable silence, Sarah spotted an old journal perched on the counter, its edges worn but intact. What stories of hope and pain lay within those pages? She felt drawn to it, a compulsion that could change everything. The family's tangled connections might just unravel in those lines. Would she dare to open it? The journal seemed to pulse with unspoken secrets, as if it held the very essence of pain and pride within its pages. Sarah took a deep breath, curiosity igniting an old flame of hope. She approached the worn counter, her fingers dancing hesitantly over the cover, heart racing as the lively conversations around her faded into a soft hum. The room was still buzzing, laughter and stories colliding like notes in a familiar tune. But the journal called to her, an invitation to peel back layers that had long been buried. She carefully lifted it, unsure whether to dig into the mess of emotions it might bring or to set it down and walk away. But maybe this could be the bridge, the start of finally understanding her mother. Noticing her restless energy, Jamie leaned in. What did you find? He asked, his eyes reflecting both eagerness and concern, realizing she was slipping away from the moment. Just, something that might tell us more about her, Sarah replied, glancing over to catch Granny June's distant gaze. She felt like a scavenger, prowling among their wreckage for a hidden treasure. The pressure of the family dynamic seemed to constrict tighter as they circled around history, each tethered to their own islands of pain. As she flipped open the journal, the faint scent of aged paper wafted up, wrapping around her senses like a warm embrace. The first page, adorned with a small sketch of the lake, drew her in further. Scrawled lines of her mother's youthful handwriting spilled into the world of dreams, forgotten ambitions, and lost laughter. "This was my happy place," it read. The quiet waves brought peace. Everything felt possible. Tears pricked Sarah's eyes as she read on. Her mother wasn't just a silhouette of bitterness and regret, she had been a girl with dreams. That thought beckoned her to dig deeper, seeking out the moments when joy existed before the cracks began to show. Meanwhile, the voices in the room continued, with Olivia joining in. "You remember how Mom used to tell us stories from this journal?" she asked Jamie, her heart clearly aching with a mix of anger and longing. "About those silly things they did when they were young?" "Yes." Jamie's excitement sparked a flicker of connection as they both turned to Granny, eager for shared tales. "What if we read some of them aloud? Maybe it'll help us understand her better." But Granny stiffened. "Those stories they're from another time, kids. It was different then." Her hesitation was palpable, punching a hole in the momentum they had built. Encouraged, Sarah urged her, "But don't you want to remember? Don't you want to share those memories with your grandchildren?" The realization struck, echoing in her mind, family could be rebuilt, but it required vulnerability, every thread of honesty connecting their hearts or tearing them apart. The air grew thicker, and the laughter tapered off as eyes fixed on Granny. A mad whirl of emotions danced across her face: fear, nostalgia, and the fading hope of connection. Would she step into the light, or slip into the shadows once again? Granny June wiped her eyes, exhaling slowly. "I don't think I can, it hurts too much." Her voice trembled as she admitted the truth. But Sarah couldn't let this moment slip away. She looked into her mother's eyes, searching for the little girl buried deep within the pain, a glimmer of hope. "Then let us face it together. Let us remember, not just the hurt. There is so much love buried in this history." Tension crackled in the air like distant thunder. Could they finally confront their past? Could the threads of their lives intertwine again? The journal lay open, and the soft flicker of renewed hope danced before them, aching to be nurtured. Just then, Jamie piped up, a wild idea spark igniting in his eyes. "How about we plan a family gathering? Something outdoors by the lake. We could make new memories to sit alongside the old ones. It could be like a fresh start." Granny looked at him, torn yet intrigued. Would that be their stepping stone toward healing? Would the night's rekindled laughter translate into a hopeful tomorrow? Sarah could feel the rush of possibility. Her heart soared. Together they could make this work. But a gnawing sensation remained, a fear that perhaps they were still too broken to bring healing to each other. And right then, as she made eye contact with her mother, a new wave of determination surged through her veins. Was this the day they finally faced the shadows? Or would they hold back again, shackled by their fears? With the journal still in her hands, Sarah whispered, "Let us break the silence, Mom, we owe it to ourselves." The question lingered heavily over them: would they have the courage to unlock more than just pages, but also the history of their hearts? As the words hung in the air, a sudden commotion broke into the moment. Olivia's voice pierced the tension, her tone a blend of excitement and disbelief. "You sold the house? Just like that?" She reached for her phone, eyes wide. "Wait until I tell the kids. They'll be thrilled." Sarah felt an odd mix of excitement and confusion. What did this mean for their plans? Would their gathering beside the lake fall victim to this surprise seismic shift in their lives? It was supposed to be a chance to reconnect, to reforge bonds that had frayed over the years. Granny June's face drained of color. "You're moving in with me? Why didn't you tell me?" Her voice trembled, a mix of fear and an unfamiliar flicker of hope battling for dominance. I wanted to surprise you, Olivia replied, now smiling nervously. We thought it would be great for the kids. We can all be together again. A dozen questions spun in Sarah's mind. How would this change everything? Was she ready for this? But deep down, there was a feeling of warmth, as if the universe had conspired in their favor, pulling them together at a time when they yearned for more than just memories. Seems like fate has handed us a golden opportunity, huh? Jamie commented, trying to lighten the mood. We can recreate all those fun family outings at the lake this time. Granny June rubbed her temples, the weight of this news settling heavier than the previous tension. You have to understand, living together isn't the same as visiting Mom, please. Olivia interrupted. It's only the beginning. Let us not make it complicated. Just think of all the good times we can have. The new memories. The old woman's gaze drifted back to Sarah and Jamie, and the flicker of hope began to glow brighter. Maybe being together would allow them to peel back the layers of their shared past. Maybe it was time to explore those stories hidden within the journal and in their hearts. Let us just take this one step at a time, she finally said, her eyes softening as she looked between her children. We can figure this out together. A sigh of relief escaped Sarah's lips, and she felt the weight of all those years of unspoken hurt start to lift a little. I think we should have that family gathering. Right by the lake, Sarah proposed softly. Let us make it a day to celebrate this new beginning. Jamie nodded vigorously. Yes, and let us read some of those old stories, too. It can bridge the past with the present. We can finally talk about everything. A shared chuckle broke the rising tension, but a deeper truth remained unaddressed. How were they moving forward past the confessions that loomed hidden beneath the surface? Olivia, sensing the shift, clapped her hands together, breaking the air of uncertainty. All right. It's settled then. Lake Day it is. What's our first step? Granny June remained thoughtful, casting a glance at the journal still lying open on the table. Let us start with this, she said softly, pointing to the pages. This is where our story begins. Just then, the sound of laughter echoed from the room's far corner. A few family members were gathering, unknowingly reminding them that bonds could stretch far and wide, but never break. Perhaps it's time to write new chapters, Sarah murmured, feeling the warmth of family inching closer, infused with the hope of renewal. But just as the warmth enveloped them, the question rolled around in Sarah's mind, with each turn of the page, would they be ready to confront their truths? Would the journal reveal the memories they really needed to heal? The thought simmered, ready to ignite as she reached for a pen, intent on marking the beginning of their new chapter. Would this soul-searching journey bind them closer or unravel them once more? The laughter faded, replaced by a charged quiet as everyone gathered around the table, each member processing the news in their own way. Sarah felt her heart racing, caught between how much she wanted this an opportunity to strengthen their family ties and the gnawing anxiety about the unspoken truths that lay ahead. Okay, everyone, let us get the ball rolling. Olivia said, her voice cutting through the thick air. She pulled a notepad from her bag and began jotting down ideas for the lake day. What do we want to do? What's on everyone's list? Granny June leaned heavily against the table, her expression thoughtful. Where do we even start? She whispered, more to herself than to anyone. Fishing. Jamie shouted, suddenly animated. Remember when we all went fishing and caught nothing but a cold? That was hilarious. The memory tugged at something deep within Sarah. They had all laughed, then a sound that felt miles away from how distant they had become. She joined in, and the picnic. I spent what felt like an eternity trying to find our favorite sandwiches at that store. The warmth of nostalgia spread through the group, and laughter began to bounce off the walls again, but beneath that laughter was an uncertainty. As Jamie and Olivia enthusiastically exchanged ideas about food and games, Sarah noticed Granny June still lost in her thoughts, her fingers tracing a pattern over the journal. Mom, Sarah addressed her gently. Do you want to share something? Granny June's eyes glimmered, her voice shaky but determined. I just wonder what stories we'll tell. Is it time to share the ones we keep tucked away? Silence blanketed the room. Everyone knew there were stories the kind that shaped them but left scars, too. The air thickened as the weight of those unaddressed memories hinted at turbulence in their plans. Maybe we start with the journal? Olivia suggested. We could read some stories aloud, share the laughs and even the tears. It might bring us closer. As everyone nodded, Sarah felt a knot in her stomach. The thought of digging into the past so openly was daunting. Could they truly confront what had been hidden for so long? Was it time to wade through old wounds while trying to build something new? Granny June placed her hand over the journal, her voice firm. Every story has its truth. Facing that truth together is what will heal us or break us. A chill ran through Sarah, feeling the gravity of those words. She took a deep breath and nodded. You're right, Mom. Let us tackle this head on. But let us also remember to celebrate our journey together. The laughter returned, resumed with a lighter tone, yet the undercurrent of anxiety remained present, like a shadow lurking close by. So, fishing, games, and storytelling? Jamie listed, his energy infectious. That sounds like a perfect day. Plus, s'mores. Olivia cheered, her excitement stirring everyone again. Yet, Sarah found herself lost in thought. While they plotted the cheerful details, an invisible thread of hesitation tightened around her heart. How would they juggle the laughter with the heaviness they'd been avoiding? As the night wore on, they swapped details on their plans for the lake, but the journal loomed large in her mind. She could almost hear its pages whispering secrets, begging to be explored. But just as they wrapped up for the evening, Olivia's phone chimed. She glanced down, her breath catching in her throat. Oh wow, you guys need to see this. It's from the kids, they have something special planned for us. The anticipation crackled in the air once more, a spark in the darkness. What could the kids possibly be up to? As excitement buzzed in the room, Sarah couldn't shake off the feeling that their journey would take them places they never imagined and they couldn't prepare for everything that lay ahead. Would they be able to embrace the past without getting lost in it? The question loomed like an electric wire, ready to ignite when they finally opened that journal. The room fell silent as Olivia read the message aloud, her voice trembling with disbelief. They sold their home? They're moving in with us? Tomorrow? It felt like a bomb had dropped, sending shockwaves through the family. Sarah's mind raced in a dozen directions at once: joy, anxiety, and an overwhelming sense of urgency. How could they pull everything together in just one day? She could barely fathom what this meant for their already complicated family dynamics. Would this new arrangement inspire healing, or would it add to the pressure they were already feeling? Granny June was the first to regain her composure. Breathe, everyone, she said, standing up. Her voice was steady, evoking an air of calm that everyone desperately needed. This can be a good thing. It's a chance for us to recommit to each other. Are you sure about that, Mom? Jamie asked, a hint of hesitation in his tone. What if they come with their baggage? It could get chaotic. A wave of tension crested around the table again. Sarah shot Jamie a look, one that mirrored her own swirling thoughts. She hated the idea of having to manage more emotions, more memories they hadn't dealt with yet. What are their reasons for this? Sarah finally spoke, struggling to keep her voice steady. Did they talk about why they sold? Why so soon? Olivia sighed, glancing at her phone as if it might somehow hold the answers. They didn't share much. Just that change is good, and they think it'll help everyone. Help everyone, Sarah echoed, the weight of the words settling heavily in her chest. Was this just a way to sweep everything under the rug? Or was there some truth to it? The conversation shifted in that moment, a collective effort to regain control. They tossed around ideas on how to prepare, who would set up rooms, the logistics of meals. Laughter bubbled up again, fueled by nervous energy and the anticipation of the unexpected. But for Sarah, it was different. While her family rallied together with hopeful plans, her heart sank deeper into that familiar worry. The journal lingered in her thoughts, reminding her that pretending the past didn't exist was no longer an option. Let us set aside a time to read from the journal tomorrow, she finally suggested, trying to bring some honesty into the whirlwind of excitement. We should lay bare the stories we've kept hidden, both for ourselves and for the kids when they come. Granny June nodded slowly, her eyes piercing through Sarah's facade. You're right. If we're adding more people to this family mix, we need to make sure everyone is clear on where we stand. But won't that just complicate everything? Jamie countered. Sharing stories means bringing up things that hurt. Do we really want to dig that up right now? It's necessary, Granny June insisted as she reached for the journal once more. It may hurt, but it could also heal. We have to trust that tackling our past won't bury us, it might reframe our future. As Sarah watched everyone's expressions, she felt that simmering tension transformed into questions. Could they pull off this balancing act of joy and sadness? Would embracing their history really bring them closer together, or would it drive an even larger wedge? The next morning, a flurry of activity ensued. The kids arrived, their laughter filling the house with warmth. Yet, as Sarah observed her own family dynamics shifting so quickly, a gnawing feeling remained. They were all willing to celebrate with s'mores and games, but every time she glanced at the journal on the table, the weight of what was left unsaid pulsed in rhythm with her anxiety. Would they manage to weave together the beautiful chaos of family and confront the underlying truths? Just as the kids burst through the door, one of them holding a handmade sign with "Welcome Home" painted across it, the doorbell rang again. Sarah felt a tightening in her gut. Who could that be? With a hesitant heart, she opened the door, bracing herself for whatever awaited her on the other side. Would it be someone from her childhood? Or perhaps a stranger with secrets that could change everything? The door swung open, and Sarah was met not with her childhood memories, but with a stranger's smiling face. A tall woman stood on the porch, her warmth radiating an air of familiarity that immediately put Sarah off guard. Hi there. I'm Alex, the woman said, holding out a small, neatly wrapped package. I'm your new neighbor. Thought I'd stop by and introduce myself. Sarah blinked, trying to process everything. A new neighbor? Why, since when? She managed a weak smile, still caught in a whirlwind of emotions. Oh, hi, I'm Sarah, she replied, clutching the doorframe to steady herself. Nice to meet you. Alex said, her energy infectious. I heard about the move-in tomorrow and thought I'd bring over a little something for your family to enjoy. You know, like a welcome to the neighborhood gift. Sarah's heart raced. Hidden under her messy thoughts was an inkling of connection, something she desperately needed. Thank you, that's really kind of you. Just as she reached out to take the package, she heard the kids burst into the living room, voices mingling in joyful chaos. Can we have s'mores now? They pelted into her space, their innocent enthusiasm cutting through the tension that had enveloped the house. Hey! Mind your manners, please. She called, looking back at Alex. Alex laughed, a genuine sound that made Sarah's heart feel a bit lighter. Looks like you've got a lively crew here. I also have 2 kids, 10 and 7. They're full of energy, too. Great, Sarah replied, half joking, causing Alex to chuckle. It sounds like they get along well. Why don't you all come over later? Alex suggested cheerfully, her eyes twinkling. We can set up a play date before the big move. Give everyone some time to unwind. A part of Sarah wanted to say yes right away, to allow her kids to run wild nearby while she processed what was about to happen in her home. But the weight of the journal pressed at her, reminding her of unresolved stories lurking in the background. How could she bond with a neighbor when her own life felt so divided? Suddenly, Granny June appeared at the door, taking in the scene. Well, isn't this a nice surprise? She beamed up at Alex. Granny June, meet Alex, our new neighbor, Sarah introduced, her voice lacking its usual steadiness. Welcome. We could use all the friends we can get, Granny said, her eyes sparkling with hope. Sarah felt connected to her grandmother's sentiment. Maybe opening the door to new people could help heal deeper wounds. Perhaps it meant community, support, and ultimately a brighter journey. Once Alex departed, Sarah closed the door and turned to see Jamie wrestling one of the kids to the ground, laughter erupting around them. A flicker of joy ignited in her heart, but it was short-lived as she glanced again at the journal resting on the coffee table, its silence echoing the unspoken words that lingered in the air. "Should we read from the journal before dinner?" she called out tentatively into the blooming chaos. "Seriously?" Jamie scoffed, folding his arms. "Now? Can't we just eat and have fun for once? Do we have to dwell on the past?" Sarah's breath hitched. "It's important, Jamie. You might not understand, but it could help us all." "Maybe this is just crazy," he muttered, rolling his eyes. "But what if it isn't?" Granny June intervened, her tone gentle but firm. "What if sharing our stories brings us closer together? The past isn't just baggage, it's part of who we are." The house felt heavy with unresolved emotions, but the kids were centered around their laughter, a reminder of joy amidst uncertainty. Sarah sensed the moment was crucial, the turning point they needed. Could they face the past even as they welcomed future connections? Before she could respond, the doorbell rang again, this time louder and more insistent. "What now?" Jamie groaned. Sarah's heart skipped. She braced for impact, her mind racing with possibilities. What more disruption lay ahead? Would it ever end? As she opened the door, a rush of warmth enveloped her. Perhaps change was looming, while the question remained, could they handle it all? As the door swung open, Sarah's breath caught in her throat. In front of her stood a group of people, three sturdy figures all dressed in bright yellow jackets with moving company printed on the back. Their smiles were wide, and their eyes twinkled with energy, nothing like the chaos swirling inside her. "Hi there. We're here to help with your move," one of them announced, a cheerful man with a messy brown beard that seemed to dance with his words. Sarah glanced back at the living room, where Jamie was still arguing with the younger kids, their laughter suddenly replaced by a suggestion of discord. Looking back at her unexpected guests, she forced a smile, an attempt to mask the turmoil inside. Great. But I thought we weren't moving until tomorrow?" The man shrugged casually. "Well, you'd be surprised how fast we can get these things done. We figured we could start early, take the stress off your shoulders." She could practically hear the gears turning in her mind. This was not what she envisioned. Dread clung to her, and she caught a glimpse of Granny June looking worried, peering curiously from the dining room with a furrowed brow. "Is this okay?" Sarah asked, her voice wavering. "Absolutely," the man replied, stepping in enthusiastically. "We'll have you settled in no time at all. Just think of it as an adventure." As they began to shuffle boxes from the moving truck across the yard, Sarah felt her chest tighten. They were already packing up her life in such a hurried fashion, and a wave of nostalgia washed over her. She thought of the old photographs still in albums, the scattered toys that told stories, and the remnants of her children's chalk drawings on the driveway. Each piece was a testament to their life together, soon to be packed away like some forgotten trinket. "Hey, Sarah. Are you coming?" Jamie's impatient voice broke through her spiral of thoughts. "We can't just stand here all day." Her gaze shifted back to the moving crew, working tirelessly under the sunny sky. "Yeah, I'm coming," she called back. The kids were starting to drift towards the front yard, drawn by the spectacle of labor. Their innocence and excitement felt out of place in her heavy heart. Sarah stepped outside, joining them, forcing herself to focus on the small moments of joy that still threaded through their lives. "Look at them go, Mom," Maya squealed, pointing at the movers. "Can we help? Can we help?" I think we should let them handle it for now," she replied gently, deciding not to burden them with her anxiety over what was happening. As Sarah helped the movers navigate through the front door, she heard Granny June mutter softly, "We'll be okay." It was meant for Sarah, but it felt more like a reminder for herself. But as the last box was wheeled out to the truck, Alexander's earlier suggestion flickered back into her mind. Would new experiences soften the edges of their tumultuous journey? Maybe there was magic to be found in the unknown, along with the pain. Suddenly, one of the movers approached her with a large box labeled kitchen. "Hey, we need to ask you where to put this, right?" Just as she nodded, a loud crash erupted from behind her. Maya shrieked, followed by an echo of laughter. Turning around, Sarah's heart raced again. It was Jamie, who was now wrestling with the family dog while surrounded by the kids. Laughter erupted all around, filling her ears. "They'll need room to breathe between their chaos and your turning world," Granny June whispered with a knowing look. Sarah watched the kids tumble over each other, her heart softening with recognition. This was messy, but it was also her family. Maybe she didn't have to smooth out every wrinkle. Holding on to the memory of her past didn't mean resisting all the new moments waiting at their new home. Before she could note down her feelings, another noise pulled her back. This time it came from behind a bush, where she spotted Alex waving towards them. "Hey, guys! You'll want to check this out." Sarah's curiosity ignited again. What was it now? What more could change in this unpredictable day? Heart racing, she exchanged glances with Granny June, who seemed just as intrigued, before they moved toward the commotion. What could this neighbor possibly have in store for them? As they approached Alex, Sarah's heart drummed a nervous beat. The way he waved his arms, almost dancing with excitement, left her both curious and apprehensive. What could possibly be so captivating that it shook him from his usual calm demeanor? "Guys! You won't believe it!" Alex exclaimed, almost out of breath. When the moving crew paused their hustle to listen, a wave of anticipation swept through the air. The kids were practically vibrating, ready to explode with questions. "Did you find buried treasure?" Jamie joked, grinning as he tried to compose himself after the dog had wriggled free from his grasp. "Nah, even better," Alex continued, his eyes gleaming. "They just found a whole load of wild blackberries growing over by the fence. You gotta come see." Frowning, Sarah hesitated. This was not the time for distractions. They had a mountain of boxes to unpack, and her mind was cluttered with everything weighing down on her. But as she looked at the kids' eager faces, their joy spilling over like summer sun, she felt the cold grip of stress begin to thaw. "How many?" Maya's eyes were wide with wonder, her childhood innocence shining through. "I've got a whole bucket," Alex boasted, puffing out his chest. "You can help me pick them. And then we can make pies." Jamie's interest peaked as he envisioned crusts and sugar. "Pies? I'm in." Sarah sighed, torn between practicality and the pull of this moment. Alex's excitement was infectious, weaving a spell that beckoned her to join. Perhaps a small detour wouldn't break the world, she thought. "Okay, let us take a quick look," she finally said, willing herself to relax, if only for a moment. "Just a quick one." The kids hooped and dashed toward the fence while Granny June chuckled behind her. Ah, the wonders of childhood. It's what you make of the chaos, dear. As Sarah made her way to the fence, the laughter of the children faded into the background, replaced by the gentle rustle of leaves and the soft buzzing of bees. She felt a strange calm wash over her as she watched them laugh and play. Moments like this reminded her why they were moving, to find joy after all the struggles, to embrace the unknown. When they reached the fence, wild vines twisted enticingly, their deep purple berries glistening in the sun. The sight of nature's bounty drew gasps from the kids. They rushed in, hands reaching out, eager to pluck the juicy fruit. Sarah couldn't help but smile at the chaos of it all, the sticky hands, the laughter, the delight. But as she collected her own handful of berries, she glanced back at the moving crew, who continued to work with zeal. Their laughter echoed as they carried heavy boxes and expertly navigated her home, her old sanctuary. "Hey, Sarah!" one of the movers called out. "We'll need your help with something in a bit. Mind coming over?" "Sure, just a second," she replied, quickly glancing back. Her heart twisted as she thought of leaving that place and everything it held, yet a thought sparked in her mind. What if this moment, gathering blackberries with her kids, was the very magic she needed to reshape her emotions? Perhaps embracing small moments of happiness could help stitch together the frayed edges of their life. Suddenly, Alex's voice broke her reverie, calling out, "You guys! Look how many I picked." As Sarah turned to him, her heart suddenly surged. The rush of excitement in his voice rekindled a warmth within her. Could these wild berries symbolize something more, a chance to replant roots wherever they went, to find new joy? Maya. Jamie. Come on, let us make those pies. She called out, embracing the chaos of happiness fully. But just as a new cheer erupted from the kids, a shadow moved in her peripheral vision, making her heart drop. A truck rolled up next door, unfamiliar and imposing. Who could it be now? Curiously, she took a step toward the commotion, her stomach in knots. What was happening next door that would change everything? As the new truck rolled up, curiosity overtook her anxiety. Sarah glanced over, spotting a middle-aged couple stepping out. They looked friendly, a little worn but filled with life and laughter. They waved, and Sarah couldn't help but smile back, feeling the warmth of their enthusiasm slicing through her tension. Just then, the door to the truck swung open, and more movement caught Sarah's eye. A small girl jumped out, pausing to look around. Her curly hair bounced as she gazed longingly at the kids. Sarah's heart pounded. Was this another chance for her children to connect? Maya. Jamie. She called, beckoning them over. Come meet our new neighbors. The kids looked at her, eyes wide with interest. As they rushed over, Sarah felt the familiar prick of hope swell in her chest. Yes. A neighborhood filled with friends, laughter, and stories shared could become their fresh start. Hi there. Sarah called out, approaching the newcomers. I'm Sarah, and these are my kids. The couple stepped forward, introductions flowing easily. I'm Lisa, and this is my husband, Tom, the woman said, her voice smooth and welcoming. We just moved in next door. Heard you were having a busy day. Busy doesn't quite capture it. Sarah laughed, motioning back to the moving crew. As the kids began chatting excitedly, Sarah noticed how the girl had been drawn to Jamie. They were both laughing, and she could see the barriers of fear and uncertainty dissolving in front of her. Maybe, just maybe, this was the family connection she had longed for. Blackberry picking was our first adventure, Sarah explained. We thought it'd take the edge off the stress. Lisa's eyes sparkled. Oh, we love blackberries. We once had a pie-eating contest that was more fun than we expected. Tom chuckled, adding, it's good to see kids enjoying the little things. They remind us of what's important. Around them, joy began to build, a shared energy of hope swirling everywhere. Sarah felt knots of anxiety in her mind loosening. Perhaps moving to a new place, even one accompanied by so much history, could be the rejuvenation they needed. Suddenly, a loud laugh bellowed from the moving crew. Hey, you guys have to come over and help us with the desserts later. We've got a competition brewing. No way, Jamie called, his excitement bubbling over. Can we? It's like one big party. Absolutely. Tom exclaimed, giving a thumbs up. Let us make it a neighborhood celebration. The air filled with warm laughter, the perfect backdrop to ease the worry swirling within Sarah. She watched as her kids dove into spontaneous games with the new girl, who brought a bright smile to her face. Sarah, Granny June's voice broke through Sarah's thoughts. She approached, looking lighter than she had all morning. I'm proud of you. This moment? It's part of that healing we talked about. Tears pricked at Sarah's eyes as she looked at her mother. I think it is, she whispered, gratitude flooding her heart. Maybe change doesn't have to mean losing what we had. Maybe it could be the start of everything we hoped for. Lisa broke into their moment. How about we plan a big pie day right here in the neighborhood? Everyone can share a memory as they contribute a story recipe. It could be spectacular. Yes. A storytelling pie day. Olivia squealed, as if the idea lit her heart on fire. As people began gathering around, the energy shifted, a community forming right before their eyes. Mothers and fathers stepped forward to share, revealing layers of their lives that were waiting to be unveiled. "Let us do it!" Jamie shouted, flinging his arms wide, creating a whirl of excitement. "We should bring stories from our own families, especially the ones that make us closer." The idea flourished, spreading warmth and vitality like wildfire. Encouraged by her children, Sarah felt ready to embrace the challenge ahead. With Granny June by her side, they began brainstorming ideas, recipes from the journal, timeless family tales. They could weave it all into the fabric of newfound connections. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Sarah felt hope swell within her like the gentle push of the tides. There, surrounded by laughter and promise, she could finally envision a bridge connecting the past with the present, a way to write new chapters together, as a family, as a community. In that moment, leaning against her mother, the journal piled with unspoken truths, the moving crew laughing in the background, and her children smiling wide, Sarah realized something profound: change, when faced together, could forge a path toward healing like nothing else could. "Tomorrow, we write our story," she declared, as the laughter echoed one last time. "But today? Today is about being here. Right now." And as the neighborhood buzzed with life, Sarah took a deep breath, fully aware of the journey ahead. They could write their history anew, together, one heartfelt moment at a time. Now, before we wrap up this incredible story, I have something urgent for you. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that are coming your way. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It really makes a difference in keeping these stories alive. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this touching ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support means the world. Let us keep this amazing community growing.